honestly say the cyclone is more like the Indian Ocean. Not just really the nation India, Australia, New Zealand, India, and Pakistan. These regions would be affected by the Indian Ocean, as well as Pacific for a certain reason for the Australia. But the Indian Ocean is really the field for cyclone, not really the nation itself alone. If you ever want it to be very specific, right? Any countries in the influential zone of Indian Ocean, right? That's a real cyclone. That's what I learned from American history class for whatever reason. Yeah. Am I getting it correct? My meteorological knowledge is pretty much limited, but I can understand it. It's never been really difficult. But a hurricane is very frequent in Europe and America. America is really the mainland, North America, the entire continent. Typhoon is for us. And storms normally generally affect Europe also. But any type of in a bigger picture, storms are for bad weathers, obviously, bad weather conditions, right? Yeah, that's not really the case. Well, where else can we have it? We have a blizzard that might actually affect the situation, but avalanche I've never experienced it in my life. But this is really easy. I really don't mind. You want me to actually watch another one from CNN? It's really easy.
I think it gives you an additional level of safety, but you can ask many doctors are in favor of it. Many frontline workers won't go there unless they have the hydroxy. And so again,
So you know what? If you are actually still in skepticism, you can actually meet many doctors in favor of this type of medication, and a whole history that had already actually proved this medication against or for medication for the malaria, very much time honored, can truly testify to security and safety. Definitely, this medication and treatment for malaria already experienced such a long history ever since its invention in about 65 or 70 years ago. But in many of the frontline workers who actually come into contact with the coronavirus patient, they would never go and treat their patients unless they would be safeguarded by the coronavirus. I mean, not really coronavirus, but the malaria treatment, hydroxychloroquine. They would never go there. Alleged by Donald Trump, not me. Don't get that wrong. According to his opinion, if you have a doubt about it, you should meet many doctors who already actually have a good understanding of the situation, especially as they really like to profess advocacy. Yeah, they are actually in favor of them. They support us. If you are actually especially you have to actually speak to doctors. Certain people who are strongly against it, but certain are definitely in favor of them. You can actually rely on those doctors equally medically equipped with the proper knowledge, but they still actually support or endorse the usage of a malaria medication. And those are frontline workers. Frontline workers means those who actually treat patients or those infected. In the forefront of the pandemic crisis, they would never jump into the scene. They would never actually parachute themselves into the scene unless they would be weaponized with this hydrochloroquine. That's what he said, not me. What else can I say about it? It's his opinion, because he just truly wants to attest. He just really wants to attest to the safety as well as efficacy of the malaria drug in terms of treating the coronavirus, at least preventing the coronavirus. That's what has been said. What else can I say about it? This is really something that I've never even heard about. You want to actually see that live? Pump your holes of pre.
as the Secretary of State and Army veteran, I spend all my days working to use American diplomatic power to secure freedom without putting our service members in harm's way.
You know what? It's really the immediate first interview in a briefing by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo ever since Donald Trump fired this close confidant inside the State Department who really wanted to conduct an investigation, who had snitched on him, right? So he says that President and he himself worked work really hard to actually secure and safeguard the safety of, those men and women in uniform who actually fight for the national security or who've been actually involved with the national security by improving the working conditions for them. They actually work assiduously to guarantee that there should be a no harm against those American soldiers as well as officers related to our national security and the defense work. Or even actually, across the nations who've been actually overviewing the diplomatic relations on behalf of the United States, we use all our diplomatic channels to beef up and prop up the security for those American citizens across the nations. That's what he said. What else can I say about it? I don't fucking know. But this is really the first briefing. He holds a briefing at this moment live. But the problem is, this is really the first ever since Donald Trump ahead of time fired. This is troublesome. Tell the truth, he's not really a troublesome one. He could actually be a whistleblower. But the problem is, he actually had already conducted an internal investigation to hold Michael Pompeo accountable. Mike Pompeo. But the problem is, Donald Trump fired him. He got him laid off, chopped up. Okay? He got sacked. This guy inside the State Department got sacked. State Department worker who actually already had launched an inquiry into Pompeo's misuse of his office. What else can I say about it? Excuse me.